What's up, fighting fans? Tibz from the Fight IQ channel. Today we're coming back for another episode of the Fight IQ show. I just came back from Oktagon 60 in Oberhausen. I had a great time. Thanks again to the organization for taking care of us. I'm editing a small vlog about it and I hope to show it to you soon. Now it's time for a weekend preview. I picked 3 fights that will deliver your weekly dose of adrenaline and that you shouldn't miss. After that, I'll also recap what will happen in the combat sports world this weekend. So let's get ready to rumble! On my menu there will be LFA 192 in Santa Cruz, California on Friday 13th, Bellator Champion Series in London on Saturday 14th, KSW 98 in Lubin, Poland on Saturday 14th, UFC 306 at the Sphere in Vegas on Saturday 14th, and the Canelo vs Berlanga boxing event in Vegas on Saturday 14th. Number 3, I picked Canelo Alvarez vs Edgar Berlanga, the main event of the boxing event with the same name, in Vegas on Saturday 14th. Canelo defending his WBC and WBO super middleweight titles versus a young and hungry challenger with dynamite in his hands. Do I really have to say who Canelo is? Yeah, alright. 34 years old, 65 fights, 61 wins, 39 knockouts. He has multiple weight classes world championships, he fought the best in the world, he had legendary battles versus Floyd Mayweather, Erislandy Lara, Miguel Cotto, Liam Smith, Gennady Golovkin, Daniel Jacobs, Sergey Kovalev, Caleb Plant, Dmitry Bivol, and the list goes on and on. Watching Canelo fight is a privilege. His footwork, his head movement, his range management, his shot selection, his durability, his IQ, I mean everything he possessed in his arsenal is from the finest quality. He is still fighting twice a year. He recently defeated John Ryder, Jermel Charlo, and young and then unbeaten Jaime Munguia last May. He's showing he's still willing to face good opponents and not only cashing checks. He will now face the KO artist from Puerto Rico, Edgar Berlanga. The chosen one is 27 years old, 22-0, 17 knockouts. He had a spectacular beginning of his pro career, going 16-0 in 4 years with 16 first-round knockouts. Since then, he faced tougher opposition every time, scoring less knockouts but always rising up to the challenge. He beat Damon Nicholson via unanimous decision in April of 2021, got the vacant NABO super middleweight title by defeating Marcelo Coceres, also by unanimous decision in October of 2021. He defended it 3 times, each time winning at the decision, dominating the fight and overpowering his opponents. His last appearance was last February, where he knocked Padraig McCrory out in the 6th round. Berlanga has a lot of power in his hands, he doesn't rush for the knockout, he has good fundamentals, and he knows when to pick up the pace. Now I'm gonna be real, I don't see how Berlanga can win this fight. I'm even surprised they thought about him to be Canelo's challenger. Don't get me wrong, he's good, he's powerful, he's hungry, he's young and has a lot of potential, but that's a huge gap to take on a walking Hall of Famer who will be the best in the world. I don't think he can win in 12 rounds and also not by knockout. Canelo will make him miss a lot, tiring him out and making him pay when countering. Berlanga still makes too many mistakes for that kind of championship fight and he will be tested the hard way. I also think that Canelo really wants to beat him up following the press conferences and I'm thinking that we will see a knockout from the champ. Number 2, I picked Alexa Grasso vs Valentina Shevchenko, co-main event of the UFC 306 at the Sphere in Vegas on Saturday 14th. Women's flyweight title and epic rivalry. Third fight of an already legendary trilogy, Grasso had the advantage in the first fight, submitting Valentina and taking a belt. And the second fight was back and forth, really close and ended in a draw. The champ, Alexa Grasso, she's 31 years old, 16, 3 and 1, 6 finishes. She joined the UFC still undefeated, 8-0, in 2016 as a strawweight, having 6 fights in a 3-year span, 3-3, against opponents like Tatiana Suarez, Karolina Kowalkiewicz or Carla Esparza. And then she made the move to flyweight, where she rose fast, piling up 4 wins in a row from August 2020 to October from 2022 against Ji-Yeon Kim, Macy Barber, Joanne Wood and Viviane Araujo. She was then a huge underdog facing the defending champ Shevchenko, who had won 7 title defense before and wiped the division out. It was in March of 2023 and in the 4th round Alexa Grasso shocked the world, taking the back of Valentina Shevchenko and making her tap to a rear naked choke, becoming the new UFC champ. Immediate rematch 6 months later, where after 5 really close rounds, the fight ended in a draw, Grasso remaining the champ. Before digging into the matchup, let's rewind a bit on the bullet. Valentina is 36 years old, 23, 4-1, 15 finishes. Before going into MMA, she was a highly decorated striker, IFMA world champion in Muay Thai, 60 kickboxing and Muay Thai fights, 57 wins. For a while she was fighting in kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing and MMA at the same time, until her signature at the UFC in 2015. 16 UFC fights, her only losses are to Amanda Nunes twice and the loss of her flyweight title to Alexa Grasso. She beat some of the most dangerous female athletes ever: Holly Holm, Juliana Peña, Joanna Jedrzejczyk, Liz Carmouche, Jennifer Maia, Jessica Andrade, Tyler Sanch. As I said, 7 consecutive title defenses. She was on a 9 fights win streak before losing her title. Definitely a legend. Now, Grasso looked a bit like a kryptonite in the first fight, but in the second, Valentina showed some great adjustments. And for that third fight, I do see her getting her title back. Alexa Grasso is really tough and durable, but I think Shevchenko will find a way to finish the fight. I actually do think she might get a submission. She showed some nice stuff on the ground last time, and she got 7 wins via submission in her career. So of course her striking remains her main strength, but her submission game is underrated, which is why I think she will get one in the championship rounds. And number 1, I picked Sean O'Malley vs Merab Dvalishvili, main event of the UFC 306 at the Sphere in Vegas on Saturday 14th. Bantamweight title between the two best at 135 pounds. Really exciting matchup between one of the most gifted striker and biggest superstar in today's MMA, and an amazing wrestler plus cardio machine. Sugar Sean O'Malley is 29 years old, 18-1, 1 no contest, 11 knockouts. Pure product of the Dana White Contender Series, where he appeared in July of 2017, winning with a spectacular knockout in the first round. Since then, 12 UFC fights, 10 wins, 1 loss, 1 no contest, and 6 knockouts. He built that persona who will bring a lot of people to his fights, with his great striking, his nonchalant style inside and outside the cage, rising up fast in the rankings and in the fans' heart. After a minor setback, where he lost to Marlon Vera after injuring his ankle in August of 2020, he started his current 7 fights unbeaten streak, including wins over Petr Yan, Aljamain Sterling for the bantamweight title, and his revenge versus Chito Vera last March for his first title defense. He will now face the Machine. Merab is 33 years old, 17-4, 13 wins at the decision. The reason I mention these stats is because Merab is the proof that you can win your fights at the decision and not be a boring fighter. He fights with a high pace, he shoots a huge amount of takedowns, and he is now a really decent striker. He entered UFC in 2017, starting with back-to-back losses versus Frankie Sanz and Ricky Simon. But since then is on 10 fight winning streak, which includes John Dodson, Cody Stamann, Marlon Moraes, Jose Aldo, Petr Yan and Henry Cejudo last February. He is the number 1 contender in this division and could have gotten a title shot sooner if Sterling wouldn't have been his teammate. He was the boogeyman, the guy people were docking and didn't want to fight. About the matchup, it is kind of a striker versus wrestler one, but Sean is long and he showed against Sterling that he can defend takedowns by managing the distance and using his striking to piece up his opponent. But he never faced someone as relentless as Merab. The Machine has one of the best cardio in the game, is arguably one of the 3 best wrestlers in the UFC. Remember, he out-wrestled Cejudo, former champ and Olympic gold medalist. And he improved his striking. Of course, he has to tire O'Malley out with his takedowns if he wants to land punches, but I think he will be able to do so after the first 2 rounds. I see him pressuring Sean from the get-go, shooting takedowns to avoid Sean striking, which will not be easy in the early rounds, and dominating the 3 last rounds to get the belt via decision. We will have an interesting card at LFA 192, good flyweight main event between Climaco and Diaz, and I will keep an eye on Isaac Thompson, Kendra McIntyre and Theo Haig. I think they are great prospects. Some good stuff at Bellator too. Of course we lost the Eblund vs Edwards too, but now we have Leah McCourt facing undefeated Sarah Collins as a main event. Young Simeon Powell will face Rafael Javier in the co-main. I really like that light heavyweight matchup. Also, Luke Trainer versus Urbonavicius, Archie Colgan versus Manuel Souza at lightweight. They both undefeated. And we will see Mark Giacchiese, Ciaran Clark, and Darrell Kelly. Not the best KSW card at KSW 98, but still some fights worth watching. I like the Gnitko vs Hamburger at light heavyweight. This one might steal the show. UFC 306 had some other great fights. Jauregui vs Souza at strawweight in the prelims. And of course Brian Ortega vs Diego Lopez, which might reshape the top of the featherweight division. Canelo vs Berlanga will have a lot of interesting fights. Lara vs Garcia for the WBA World Middleweight title. Two former champs trying to get some gold back to their waist. Caleb Plant vs Trevor McCombie at super middleweight. Rolly Romero will be fighting, Stephen Fulton too, and some nice prospect on the undercard. And we're done here. Now you know what to watch this weekend, guys. As usual, punch those like and subscribe buttons, it helps me a lot. Go hit the comments, go on Discord, on Telegram, on Instagram, whatever you're on. I want your thoughts and your picks for the coming matchups. Enjoy the fights, I'll see you next week.
Oh, now they call me, I seen them. All of those times getting severed. I told them all I can let up. They ain't not taught to me never.